Hey,
Hey,
um,
how was the breakout room?
it worked pretty well. I had
Right.
to not
Yep,
break out my computer, so I wasn't taking up space. But
it worked very well, Chang, the breakout session.
That's awesome. Okay, I never used that before, so
Yep, it's efficient.
okay. I so the I don't have too much on my agenda, and if we can get to get everyone set up, then um we can end kind of early. I only put like 1 hour for this because I think we don't actually need 1 hour. So if does everyone get the link to the Google Docs, or has anybody not getting that link? And the thing we're going to cover is the Fast.ai course. You can get them from course.fast.ai. It's also blocked, for example, on my company laptop. So if you're using company laptop, you might want to reconsider because for whatever reason, our company blocks the .ai domains. Is there any question before I go into the setup part, as in like, so we can run the class notebooks?
Hey, Chang, can you give a quick overview on Fast.ai? What exactly it is and what is the specialty about it?
Yeah, sounds good. Let me share my screen then. Share. So what I know, I don't know much about Fast.ai, honestly, because if I know, I wouldn't be like taking it. But I know that this thing is kind of like, a lot of people said a lot of good things about this, the authors, like who they're trying to make AI uncool again. So like kind of like democratize the AI knowledge. And so they're really focused on like building good machine learning models. And in this case, they're really focused on deep learning models. So if you look at the 2 lessons, we will probably do mostly part 1 for the next, I don't know how many weeks. Each of these lessons, let me make it bigger. Each of these lessons, they recommend 10 hours of work. They said the course length or the video is about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And then they recommend you to spend about 8 hours working on each thing. And I know a lot of them has, a lot of people who sign up for this or like open source course together, this group or like group of people actually published some machine learning paper just from like doing those exercises, which I thought was really impressive. Like they found new ways to train model. For example, one thing they kind of popularized was like what they call a kind of like variable training rate or something like that. Like they will set the how do you call it, learning rate, parameter, how fast it learns to kind of like a sine wave kind of thing, and it tend to converge faster than setting into a fixed number. So like they're like, people tend to like just try new things, and I think that's fair. Like there's no rules here. They give you the structure and ask you to try things, and this whole thing is free. It covers a lot of topics. You can see it covers like computer vision. Part 2, I think, is about like kind of like build a neural network from scratch. I think all of them kind of like build things from scratch, and it also covered like things like GANs or like, I think Nanji, you're like interested in GANs, right? Like this is like lesson 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that what they do is they train again from nothing, like how, like kind of like break down the whole thing. And that's kind of like, I think, what their approach is. And they also have a Python library that they built as part of this course that is very useful, is a high-level library for PyTorch. So I'm kind of curious about that myself. They have a form, which a lot of questions I think are in here. let me just look. Fast AI for a lot of the questions they post in this thing called deep learning course forums. You can go in here and kind of like search the topic you're like curious. I don't know, something like lesson 1. Like you saw something we were just putting here. There's a lot of people, a lot of good answers here. So I think this is a very, very nice learning platform.
So they're mainly into, I guess, teaching courses and things like that. They don't have their own platform, right?
No, they're teaching.
Okay.
I think the way he described it in the first video was Fast.ai is to PyTorch as Keras is to TensorFlow. Just kind of, it simplifies a lot of the other operations that kind of take your focus from you know, the model training and, you know, that type of stuff. That's kind of what I gathered from it, at least.
Do we have someone who's gonna train a neural network at age like 3? Hi.
No, not quite. She's finishing up her last week of kindergarten. Every time I try to have any kind of Zoom call, she has to join. So
Yeah.
But one day I actually didn't.
Do we have any like, I don't know, any other question or think about the course that?
So, hey Chang, this is Kiran. This is my first time here on the Davidson group also. Just a quick question. Is there any prerequisite knowledge required? What is it that I need to have before I can, you know, really start understanding everything?
I think for our group, it's pretty informal. Like you can do it at any sort of knowledge level. Pre-coronavirus, we do a lot of socials, but apparently we cannot go to Summit Coffee anymore. For this course, I think the Fast AI course, they recommended that you have 1 year of programming experience, like any type of programming experience, doesn't have to be Python. I think they want to make sure that, hey, like you don't spend too much time understanding like how to execute the code, what is a variable, how to assign a variable, what is the loop, that kind of thing. But if you have 1 year of any sort of hobby or like professional development experience, I think they said that's just like the minimum. You don't even need to know Python.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that helped.
We're going to go straight through like in the order they have it, or is it okay to skip around if you want to learn things on your own?
I think it's they didn't cover that. But I feel the way they do the modules kind of like topic by topic. I think I'm gonna start on lesson 1, but I don't think there's any reason that you cannot start like on your own, like from lesson 3 or lesson 7. Just go to the topics you want and then come back and share with us what you learn. Because I feel like, for example, like if you're interested in GANs, might as well just jump into the GANs.
Yeah. Cool.
How do they make money if they're giving it away free?
They're not really making much money. I think they're just kind of like a teaching program. They pair with what they call San Jose State and other colleges, and they just get a little funding here and there.
Okay.
They're collecting data on you.
Yeah, I think the guy Jeremy Howard used to work for like McKinsey, and he did like 10 or 20 years of data science, and he was just like, okay, one day it's just like, okay, I'm tired of this. I want to do something else, kind of thing.
Yeah, the other co-founder, Rachel Thomas, she's also a pretty big researcher, it seems like.
Yeah.
I follow them on Twitter, and I've seen some papers being published every now and then.
Yeah. One thing I thought was really funny was like on their blog, they have a page called Fast AI blog. Like that's what their page is. If you look at the past like month or so, it's all about like wearing masks. Because I think Jeremy Howard was like, oh wow, United States is like messed up. Like why nobody's wearing masks? So he started this like grassroots like Twitter hash thing called Mask for All. And then he just like keeps like telling people to wear masks until everybody started wearing masks. And some of them got like pretty publicized. I think it was very interesting, but it's just like, if you look at all the blog posts, it's just like masks.
Yeah, that's what I saw, Chang. I just quickly went to their homepage and 2/3 of the page is all about mask. I was like, what is going on? Why are they talking about mask?
Yeah, that's what it is. I think he's because he's like doing data, right? He was just like looking at coronavirus data and realized that, hey, Czech Republic and everybody else like East Asia are opening masks. Why are we not? So he's just like, this is like stupid. And he just like try to like publicize that knowledge. But anyway, any other comments?
Hey, Chang, I just came to know today there is a website called datacamp.com. That's another, I think, paid training site that provides training on a lot of things, starting from data science, machine learning, all the way even up to Excel spreadsheets and so on. So it seems they are giving their courses free for this one full week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if he wants to check it out, they can go and check it out.
Okay.
It's datacamp.com.
Okay. By the way, the meeting time for my Zoom, it says it remaining 10 minutes. But if this meeting ends, I will immediately relaunch the same meeting with the same meeting ID, because I think that's what I can do is just relaunch the same meeting ID and you can join with the same meeting link and the password. If Zoom kicks us out, I'll just immediately relaunch it. So just join in like 20 seconds or something.
Sounds
Are you
good.
sure you'll get the same meeting ID?
Yes, we tested last time when we did the causality workshop. It's very confusing. It's like, okay, like what will we do? But I saw that clock ticking on my screen, so I want to let everybody know. Okay, so I don't know if anybody is everybody on the Slack channel? Because I think that's a place where if you want to find study buddy, for example, like if you're interested in GAN, just say, hey, I want to do the GAN module, and you maybe find 2 or 3 people do it together, right? Or like if you're interested in NLP, I think lesson 4 or something is NLP, just go ahead and do NLP with somebody else.
Sure.
And so like I created a little channel called Fast.ai study group channel, and you can see it there. Okay. And I am thinking that we will regroup in 2 weeks. It doesn't have, like, I don't really have like a set agenda to say, hey, we have to cover this much ground, but I can just come back and like, we can share information and see how everybody progresses. And maybe if we need to have more structure, we can discuss then. Because I don't know what's the best way to run this, especially if we're gonna break into different lessons. But any other question before I go into the setup part? Okay, I'll share my screen again. So if you go to, give me one, sorry, weird. Where is my screen? Yeah, here. If you go to course.fast.ai and go to getting started, you will see that it has a bunch of options here. And I tested 2 of them. I first tested the Google Compute Platform and Google Cloud Platform. It took me 1.5 hours to complete the setup. So I strongly advise against using this, and I put in some of my pain points in the Google Docs that I was sharing. This part is like really messed up. There's one part that they said that, hey, you need to set a GPU, like you need to tell Google what kind of GPU you need to use. And I think it's because we're in coronavirus, people are trying to like use as much free resources as possible, and Google just say, hey, sorry, this one is everybody took it, so you don't have it, and then you have to manually try another one. It's just like took forever. So I was strongly against using the full server if you don't have to. And also don't use it on your own PC, because I've tried that as well. To get GPU working on your deep learning library requires some setup, both either on Windows or Mac. So the thing I'm gonna try myself is using the Colab. And if you click on the Colab, the one-click Jupyter Notebook, what it will offer is basically a Jupyter Notebook that you can use to run the courses. I don't know about doing the homework assignments, but at least you can run the course notebooks here. If you click on it, it has a kind of like step-by-step instruction. So I will just work through this step and see what it gives me. Okay. So if you click on this, you can go to the Colab welcome page, or I think you can just search Google Colab and it will take you there. And when you go to Colab, the first thing you ask you is what is the base notebook you want to pull? We'll select GitHub and then search for, it says here, Fast.ai course v3. And you'll pull up their course repository from GitHub, and you can now take, for example, lesson 1. Let's say if I want to do lesson 1, I'm not sure what's the difference of this. I think they will tell you in the video. But let's say I want to do this one. I can click on it, and Google Colab will load it into my browser. By the way, if you want to follow up and you want me to slow down, whatever, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll put the recordings up in maybe 25 minutes after this ends. And now there's one thing I found about like training deep learning library is you want to try to use GPU or graphic cards as much as possible, because it really, really speeds things up. It's like 80 to 100 times faster in my experience. So in the runtime, up here in the runtime, there's a thing called change the runtime type. If I click on this, I can select to use GPU as my hardware acceleration. I think they said don't check this, so I don't check this. I'm just gonna click save. And supposedly, yeah, it's initializing. Now it's initializing a GPU and it's connected with a GPU. In my experience, I think sometimes it doesn't work because there may be too many people requesting for Google's resources at the same time, but it usually works. And the next thing is you have to kind of install a few dependencies that they have from their repository, and which is not in here. And the way I do that is I would click on the first cell, and this is like a Jupyter Notebook, so you can add code cells here. So I would just add code cells here, so for me to type. The first one I would take is from here, is using a curl command to download. It's basically saying, okay, I want to download a Colab dependency packages and feed it into Bash. This is Unix command. So if you have a Jupyter Notebook, you add a little exclamation mark. It means execute a command line command. So it's just basically running a bunch of installation scripts. I can just click on this to run. And it will say, okay, this is not authored by Google. Who cares? Run anyway. And it will start updating and so on. And once it's done, that means this step is good. And on the new window, click yes. I guess I can restart runtime or reset runtime, restart runtime. Okay, I guess I don't need to do anything. This is all I need. The next thing I think they're saying in step 3 and step 4 is saying that everything that you do here is kind of like sits on the cloud. It does not save anywhere. So you can make a copy of this into your Google Drive. And the way to do that is to click File, and then save a copy in Drive. This will save a copy of this Jupyter Notebook in your Google Drive. So I would just do that, save. It's creating a copy, takes a while. Okay. Could not open a new browser window, make sure whatever. Okay. Oh, okay. So now you can see it's called copy of lesson 1. It's not this anymore. So now I'm just gonna operate on this copy of lesson 1. Now this is running using the file.